started with something so simple the noise stopped. The chaos that once filled every second of your life just vanished. No messages, no calls, no footsteps behind you. The laughter, the fake compliments, the crowded rooms, all gone. And for the first time, there was nothing but silence. Not peace, not calm, just an uncomfortable, heavy kind of quiet that made your skin crawl. You thought you wanted peace, didn't you? But when it finally came, it didn't feel peaceful at all. It felt like being trapped in a room with your own reflection. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. You used to wake up and hear the world screaming your name, pretending to care. Every sound was a distraction. Every word someone spoke was a way to avoid hearing your own thoughts. But when the noise disappeared, so did the mask. And in that suffocating silence, you realized how alone you really were. You started asking yourself questions you never wanted to face. Who am I without them? Who am I when no one's watching? And that's when it hit you. The truth you'd been avoiding all along. The noise wasn't keeping you alive. It was keeping you from seeing who you really were. At first, you tried to bring the noise back. You reached out, hoping someone would answer, but no one did. The world had moved on. People forget fast. Silence doesn't. Silence remembers. It holds on to every unspoken word, every broken promise, every time you looked in the mirror and lied to yourself. And now, with nothing to distract you, you start to hear it all echoing in your head. It's not the world's silence that breaks you. It's your own. The silence becomes a mirror, showing you every piece of yourself you buried under noise. You pace the room, trying to fill the air with something, music, thoughts, anything. But the silence swallows it all. You start to realize, maybe this is what's left when everything fake falls away. The quiet isn't your enemy. It's your truth. It's what's real when the noise dies. You can feel it now, can't you? The weight pressing down, the stillness whispering secrets that noise never let you hear. And somewhere inside that darkness, a small part of you begins to wake up. The part that doesn't need applause, doesn't need validation. The part that was always waiting for the world to shut up so it could finally speak. That's when you understand. This silence, it didn't come to destroy you. It came to show you what's left after destruction. It came to strip away everything that wasn't real, everything that was temporary, until all that remained was you. Because that's where it all begins. Not when you're surrounded by people, not when the world is loud, but when it's quiet. When you're left alone with the sound of your own heartbeat, the whisper of your own soul, that's when the real story starts. That's when everything truly begins. When the noise disappeared, everything began. When the world went silent, you thought that was it. The end of everything. But you were wrong. The real noise wasn't out there. It was inside. The moment the world stopped talking, something else started whispering inside your head. Doubts, regrets. Every mistake you ever made crawled out from the shadows. You hear them all one by one, like ghosts knocking on the walls of your mind. The silence didn't calm you. It confronted you. It made you listen to the things you spent your whole life trying to escape. At first, you tried to drown it out. You turned up the music. You scrolled through endless distractions. You surrounded yourself with anything that made you forget. But silence doesn't care. It waits. It follows you into every dark corner, into every sleepless night. It doesn't scream. It whispers, and somehow that's worse. Because now it's your own voice echoing back at you. Every lie you told yourself, every dream you abandoned, every person you hurt, they all sound the same now. You can't run from it anymore. You can't hide from what's inside you. The voices grow louder the longer you try to ignore them. They tell you you're not enough, that you failed, that no one's coming, and for a moment you start to believe them. You start to think maybe they're right. Maybe the silence came to punish you. But then something shifts. Somewhere between the guilt and the fear, you realize something powerful. Those voices aren't your enemies. They're your truth. They're the parts of you that were silenced by the noise of the world. They're the pieces of you that were buried under the weight of pretending. You sit with them, you let them speak, and it hurts, it burns. But slowly, something starts to change. You begin to understand that the only way to escape the noise inside is to face it, to let every voice speak until it has nothing left to say. You face the version of yourself you've been avoiding, the broken one, the scared one, the lost one. And instead of pushing it away, you listen, you accept it. Because maybe healing doesn't come from avoiding the pain, but from walking straight into it. The silence becomes a battlefield. Every thought is a weapon, every doubt a test. And while most people run back to the comfort of the noise, you stay. You stay in the silence long enough to learn its language. You start to see that the silence isn't empty. It's alive. It's trying to show you something. It's trying to rebuild you from the inside out. And when you finally stop fighting it, when you let the silence have its way with you, something incredible happens. The voices quiet down. Not because they're gone, but because they've been heard. You're no longer running from yourself. You're standing with yourself. That's when the silence changes. It's no longer the enemy. It's your reflection. It's your guide. It's the place where you stop pretending and start becoming. Because the real battle was never outside. It was always within. Time moves differently when you're alone with silence. Days blur into nights, and nights feel endless. But somewhere in between, something begins to shift. The fear that once crawled under your skin starts to fade. The panic that used to own your thoughts loses its power. You begin to breathe again. Not because the silence is gone, but because you've learned how to live inside it. What once felt like a prison starts to feel like space. Space to think, space to feel, space to rebuild what the world tried to break. It's strange, isn't it? The same silence that once haunted you becomes the very thing that heals you. You start to notice things you couldn't before. The sound of your breath, the rhythm of your heart, the calm between each thought. You begin to understand that silence isn't empty, it's full of answers. And for the first time, you see things clearly. You see who stayed and who only clapped when it was convenient. You see what truly matters and what never did. The noise once blinded you, but the quiet, it opens your eyes. People don't notice what's happening to you. They can't. They only see the surface, and on the surface, it looks like you disappeared. They don't see the storm you're surviving inside. They don't see the battles you fight in your own head. They don't see the growth, the small victories that no one applauds, the strength that doesn't need to be seen to be real. You've stopped explaining yourself to people who never tried to understand you. You've stopped shouting for attention in a world that only listens to noise. Because now you've found something louder than words. Discipline, purpose, clarity. The silence that once made you feel invisible now makes you untouchable. You don't react the same way anymore. You don't chase validation. You don't need the world to notice your pain to prove it exists. You've outgrown the need to be seen. You've learned that some transformations aren't meant to be witnessed. They're meant to be lived. While the world runs in circles, chasing approval, you walk quietly in a straight line towards something they'll never understand: peace. You start to realize that power isn't always loud. It doesn't always come from standing in the spotlight or being heard by millions. Real power is silent. It's calm. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout to be felt. You can see it in your own reflection now. The stillness in your eyes, the patience in your movements, the control in your voice. The silence didn't break you. It built you. Brick by brick, piece by piece, it turned your pain into patience, your fear into focus, your wounds into wisdom. You look around, and the world is still as chaotic as ever, but something's different. You're not part of it anymore. You've risen above it. You've become the calm in the middle of the storm. The same silence that once buried you now surrounds you like armor. Because power doesn't roar, it whispers. And then, one day, it happens. The silence that once felt heavy now feels light. The world starts to move again, but you move differently. You walk through the same streets, see the same faces, hear the same noise. But something in you has changed. You're not chasing anymore. You're not trying to prove anything. The same noise that once ruled you now feels distant, almost meaningless. You've learned to live without it, and that's what makes you free. You realize that the power you were searching for in others was inside you all along. The silence didn't take anything from you. It gave you everything you needed. People start to notice, but they can't quite explain it. You don't talk much anymore, yet when you do, they listen. Your presence carries weight. You don't force respect, it follows you. You don't demand attention, it finds you. That's what silence does. It builds an energy around you that words can't touch. You've become something most people can't understand because you've mastered something they fear: stillness. You see the noise differently now. You see how desperate it looks. How people scream just to be seen. How they fill every second with distraction because they're terrified of being alone with themselves. You used to be one of them, but not anymore. You found beauty in the quiet. You found strength in solitude. You learned that silence is not weakness, it's control. And once you have control over your silence, nothing outside of you can break it. The world tries to test you again. Old habits, old pain, old people come back. But now you don't react the same. You don't fight every battle. You don't explain your worth. You just smile and walk through the noise untouched, because you've learned that silence speaks louder than any defense. You've become the calm presence that shakes people without saying a word. You've learned that sometimes silence isn't empty, it's full of meaning. Sometimes silence is the loudest scream of all. And when people look at you now, they sense something. They don't know where it comes from, but they feel it. The quiet confidence, the unshakable peace. They see someone who's been through the fire and came out without needing to prove it. They hear the power in your stillness. And though they'll never understand what it took, you do. You know the price of becoming this version of yourself. You know what it cost to earn this silence. It's strange how the very thing that once broke you now defines you. Silence is no longer a place you fear. It's where you belong. You've learned to listen to it, trust it, live through it. It's not a punishment anymore. It's a language only the strong can understand. The world may still be loud, chaotic, restless, but you've learned the secret it doesn't know. Because now your silence speaks.